Hello everyone, this is Maki. The second episode of the talk show with the creators of GQuuuuuuX has been released. In this episode, key staff members including director Kazuya Tsurumaki share their memories of making GQuuuuuuX. Be warned! Today's show contains many spoilers for GQuuuuuuX the beginning. If you want to experience the story without prior knowledge, please watch the movie first before tuning into this program. Are you ready? Alright, let's see what the staff has to say. First of all, there weren't many opportunities to answer questions on this talk show. Both the director and the host mentioned that many of the questions would reveal important story elements if answered. Therefore, they weren't able to answer too many questions in this episode. However, they also said that if the excitement around GQuuuuuuX continues, there may be more opportunities to answer these questions in the future. Many questions were also sent to the official Studio ColorX account. As expected, many of them were about the main characters of First Gundam. But what does it mean when they say that they cannot answer questions about the main characters? If it was just they won't appear, then it feels like they could just say that. But not answering at all, doesn't that suggest that First Gundam's main characters will appear in the story at some point? Of course, this is just my personal speculation based on my own hopes and wishes. On this topic, Director Mr. Tsurumaki made a somewhat related comment. It was in response to a question about how he approached the challenge of depicting a what-if scenario within the history of First Gundam. Mr. Tsurumaki said, "The alternate history genre has existed in the creative world for a long time. I've read and analyzed many alternate history works over the years. Because of this experience, even though the subject matter happened to be Gundam, it was still a field I was very familiar with. As a creator, I already had the methods and techniques in me. However, one unpredictable factor was how long-time Gundam fans would react. For example, I had no way of knowing how the fans would react to the fact that Amuro would no longer appear in the story of GQuuuuuuX. Just before making this comment about Amuro, Mr. Tsurumaki hesitated for a moment and said, "Oh wait, should I say that as if checking with the people around him? Since this part wasn't cut from the show, it seems like it was information they were allowed to reveal. Now, how would you interpret Mr. Tsurumaki's statement that Amuro will no longer appear? Since this talk show focuses on GQuuuuuuX's beginning, does it mean Amuro Ray will not appear in GQuuuuuuX's beginning? Or does it mean Amuro Ray does not appear in the entire story of GQuuuuuuX?" Mr. Tsurumaki did not comment further on Amuro. The director in charge of the production, Mr. Daizen Komotsudo, also shared his thoughts on the alternate history element of First Gundam. Yoshiyuki Tomino, who wrote the original story of First Gundam, also depicted alternate developments in the novel versions. For example, in one version, Amuro Ray leaves the story halfway through, leading to a completely different turn of events than in the TV anime. The idea of Charles Neville and Shalia Blue forming an alliance was something that had already been explored in the novel, so we were able to incorporate it very smoothly. Mr. Mahiro Maeda, who was in charge of the design work, also commented, "I thought the alternate history approach of First Gundam was fascinating. It allowed us to respect Mr. Tsurumaki's deep love for First Gundam while still introducing new developments. I thought it was a great method, but then Mr. Hideaki Anno sent us an unexpected proposal. He presented us with an idea that directly used the composition and story development of the first episode of First Gundam. I could fully understand his intense passion for it. Now that beginning has been released, I honestly feel like saying it's great that the fans' dreams have come true. Mr. Tsurumaki shared his thoughts on Gundam and MMO. I created beginning with the serious intention of constructing a story in which Sion wins. There are different points of view when analyzing the setting of First Gundam. One such viewpoint argues that the Earth Federation had an overwhelming national power advantage over the Principality of Sion, which is why Sion lost. And raising the visual impact was minimal. However, I believe that as long as a series has the title Gundam, the idea that victory was achieved by Gundam is crucial. That's why I depicted a scenario in which Shirozanabo pilots the Gundam. I felt that the defining element of the Gundam genre was the presence of the Gundam itself as the decisive factor in the outcome of the war. This is a very interesting perspective when considering the balance between realism and entertainment. Mr. Tomino also values realism, but he often prioritizes engaging storytelling from an entertainment perspective. For example, in the Gundam series, the characters tend to talk a lot while fighting. From a realism point of view, that doesn't really make sense. When you're putting everything into a fight and trying to take your opponent's life, there's hardly any room for conversation. However, in the Gundam series, characters often exchange dialogue in the middle of battles. While it could be argued that this lacks realism, it is actually a well-established storytelling technique in entertainment. Mr. Tomino often incorporates not only anime techniques, but also stage performance methods. This approach can also be seen in the battles of First Gundam. I'd like to make a special program to explore this concept in detail. In stage performances, characters often talk even during battle scenes. In some genres, they even sing while fighting. This is something that wouldn't happen in real life, but the audience is still drawn into the story. From the perspective of immersing the audience in the world of the work, it's an extremely effective technique. In entertainment, there are many times when choosing an unrealistic method actually increases the audience's involvement. And in GQuuuuuuX, Mr. Tsurumaki chose the approach of depicting Gundam and Admiral Ray as decisive factors in the outcome of the war. Mr. Tsurumaki also talked about the first Gundam part depicted in beginning. Originally, we planned to portray Shirozanabo's actions in a short 5-minute segment. The idea was that once Sha got on the Gundam, the first Gundam part would end and the rest of the historical developments would be explained through narration. However, this approach didn't quite fit into the framework of a TV anime. While I was struggling with this, Mr. Yamashita, the mechanical designer, suggested why not devote the length of an entire TV episode to depicting the first Gundam part. Thus, the beginning segment was born. Mr. Ano also has a deep love for First Gundam, and he skillfully incorporated elements such as the Tomino memo and realized concepts and mobile suit variations from the original TV anime into the script. It was a method I couldn't have achieved on my own. Many people may wonder if the story of GQuuuuuuX will include elements beyond First Gundam. Interestingly, the company Zionic that appeared in beginning was actually created for mobile suit variation projects and was not originally part of First Gundam. It first appeared in books and spin-offs, and its name was only introduced in an anime with MS Siguru. Among fans, the idea that Zionic developed the code is well known. In reality, however, it's a relatively new setting that originated in spin-off material. It's unclear to what extent such elements will be used, but the possibility of incorporating aspects beyond first Gundam is certainly intriguing. There are many more fascinating comments in this show. Because of this, I'd like to create another program to further explore and explain them. How much will the first Gundam characters be involved in the story of GQuuuuuuX? Even in beginning, we've already seen Shalia Bull and Kamran Room appear. So it's safe to say that they won't be completely absent. This is a series that really makes me excited for the TV anime release. Thank you for watching until the end. See you next time.